Thank you, Tom and Andrew. That was absolutely brilliant and really set the stage for our next three speakers who are going to now take us deeper into what do we need to do in order to deliver outcomes like this? How do we need to set up the data, like standardization, classification, etc. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Ray Walshe. Ray is an internationally recognized ICT standardization expert and senior research in the ADAPT Research Centre in Dublin City University. And he's going to talk to us about standardization now. So welcome to the stage, Ray. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Claire. Thank you. Okay, I'll just try the down arrow, see if this works. I'm working for Horley now. So just quickly. Actually, Andrew, I could give a completely different talk now based on what Andrew and Tom have just done. Because this is what's interesting. I mean, I've been attending standards and standardization conferences for a decade now and more, and this BIM conference could have been a standards conference. The very same issues keep coming up over and over again. You know, you were talking about the building, the city, and you were talking about the data-driven approaches, and all of this is just reverbs with standardization the whole time. So what I'm going to do is just to be talk about a number of projects. Actually, I'll go back here first. We'll talk about HS Booster first, but I'm going to talk about Stand ICT and I'm going to talk about ADRI. These are a number of European Commission funded projects which support standardization, and standardization is about innovation, but on a global scale. And what is a standard? A standard is globally accepted best practice. Okay, so we're trying to come up with the best practice for the best buildings, the best digital twins, using the best data. And it was interesting, like what Tom was saying about the data, even that because one of these comments I keep coming up with over and over again down through the years is there's no AI data, there's no digital twin data, there's no smart city data, there's just data. Everything is context after that. So it's like saying there's no design data, there's no concept data, there's no build data, there's just data, and everything is context. So that the analogy with the files and everything, as I said, I could describe a completely different talk here rather than talking about standardization. But we do need to standardize. This gets across the point that we need to have common platforms who use common data, who can communicate and be interoperable with one another. This is important for the future. If we want to achieve net zero, if we want to achieve performance optimizations, then we need to have a common understanding of what the problem is, and also have a collaboration, and not a duplication of effort in silos, as Tom mentioned, but a collaborative approach. And this is what standardization and global best practice give us. So I'm going to mention 3 projects here will actually help you to do that. And I'm going to mention it talking about innovation, obviously, because we've got BIM, so it's innovation. But 3 words, actually: innovation. And I'm going to talk about support. And then that won't get everybody's attention, so I'm going to talk about money. I'm going to throw money at you. And this is what HS Booster is, my starting point is going to be. So HS Booster, it's a European project which boosts innovation. And how does it do that? Well, it interacts with people who are involved in European Commission funded Horizon 2020 or Horizon Europe projects. So all of you are involved in industry, a lot of you are involved in industry or research centres or universities or whatever your background is, you can engage with funded projects through the European Commission. It's a great way of working on leading edge technology and working with like-minded, smart individuals across Europe to deliver a common goal. And if you are funded on one of these instruments, then you can apply to this project, HS Booster, and you'll get money from us. Because we will say, you're doing some good stuff in your project. We'll support you in getting standardization outcomes out of your RTDI, your research, technology, development and innovation outputs from your project. And this is what HS Booster is all about. So it's a collaboration of a number of people. I'll interject here and say that I've never given a 15-minute speech in my life, so someone's going to be dragging me off the stage here in a few minutes. I've got 25 slides and 15 minutes. Not possible. So I'm not going to read this to you. I'm just going to give you context. You get a copy of the slides, from BIM Coordination Summit anyway. And so there's the great and the good of this external advisory group, which set up this HS Booster or coordinate the HS Booster. We work across lots of, on the right-hand side here, you can see lots of the standardization development organizations or European standards organizations that we interact with. So you have Sensenlec and ETSI, IEC, ISO, OASIS, British Standards, National Standards Authority of Ireland, Danish Standards, lots of different people. And in a nutshell, we have this community that we're trying to build, we're trying to encourage a policy approach approach to standardization, support European projects in building better outcomes, and it's to be data-driven and outcomes-driven. So if you're doing that in a European project, we'll actually give you money. And we're doing that through open calls where people can apply, to be supported by our project. You get assessed through an independent external panel of evaluators, and if you write a good proposal, chances are we'll help you to standardize or globalize your product or your solution, your technology, your components, etc. As I said, so it's 5 open calls. They're running at the moment. The first open call is due to kick off in October, so we're ahead of the game here now. It hasn't started yet. It's a brand new project, and it'll be running until 2024. And so there's plenty of opportunities through different calls to be able to interact with it, and it's quite broad. So you can see where BIM might be attracted to it, because we're talking about sustainable digitalization, we're talking about EU green transition, we're talking about health and resilience, and all of the emerging technology areas that I tend to work in, like whether it's data or AI or blockchain, all have a use case in smart cities, smart buildings, building innovation management, building innovation modeling. All of these have a use case, which is very important to development of these technology standards. So you should look at what you're trying to achieve in your projects and see, can it be supported? And if you're an expert in standardization, you can also become part of our expert panel as well. The open call for experts, and this is just a snapshot of the different representative bodies that applied during our open call, and it's growing at the moment. Next steps is over the next couple of months, we're evaluating the experts, we're evaluating the projects, and we want to assign experts to projects to provide that support once they have been evaluated. The second project then is Stand ICT, and this is another project which supports standardization in ICT, but as I said, ICT is cross-cutting across construction, buildings, everything, So if you've got an interesting idea where you can contribute to ideally European, because it's funded by Europe, so it's fully funded by the European Commission. If you can contribute to a European standard or a global standard, in other words, you raise the European profile on a global stage through international standardization, then you will probably get funded by this particular instrument. The Stand ICT project has three pillars even. We have money, again. We'll give you money if you apply and you meet the criteria. It's also got a technical working group set up where we just spin off technical working groups to work on specific key areas. So we've published landscape reports and standardization for AI, for smart cities, we're doing edge and IoT at the moment. We've already done digital twin. We've already done trusted information as well, because trust and transparency was also mentioned by Tom and Andrew in terms of the data that we need for these BIM systems. And the last pillar, apart from the technical working groups and the money, we have this education academy, which we get best practice in standardization and provide courses available to people who are interested in engaging in standardization. This is a snapshot of what has been funded to date. So you'll see things like cybersecurity and artificial intelligence, 5G, blockchain, as the different targeted topics that have been funded, fellows that have been funded out of this already. And the SDOs, so the top on the right-hand side of the bar chart is JTC1, the Joint Technical Committee between ISO and IEC. But you can see that a lot of other standards bodies have actually been funded as well. Not a great male-female split between the actual female winners because they don't apply. We haven't got a huge engagement from female experts, and there are female experts out there. It's just we haven't got them engaged in standardization. And we run initiatives and webinars to try and address that, which we've had fully female expert panels chaired by female conveners with female editors, all the rest of it. So we're trying to highlight the fact that we need more engagement from females in the standardization process in general. We publish loads of stuff out of the European Observatory for ICT Standards, which is part of the Stand ICT project. We do impact reports and we do landscape reports on the technologies. And all of these, the ones we published to date, would be relevant to the building innovation management and modelling sectors. The 7th open call is actually closed. This slide is out of date, but the 8th open call is open. So there is money still available, and there is a call ongoing at the moment. That's Stand ICT, and the last one that I want to talk about is ADRA-E, which is another support function for AI, data, and robotics. And again, AI, data, and robotics is something that cross-cuts again, across, as smart cities, smart buildings, smart health, anything with smart in it, means that there's some AI component to it. And ADRA-E then is another project which is Horizon Europe funded, and the partners there are supporting the ecosystem of AI data and robotics through an artificial intelligence public-private partnership with the European Commission. And what we're trying to do there is to boost the ecosystem and prepare new projects, set the groundwork for the next generation of big projects that are going to give optimizations in construction, in interoperability. And this is all done through, from my perspective, and my involvement with the project is through standardization. So we're looking at the next generation of standards coming out of EU Robotics, out of CLARE, out of ELIS, these AI alliances, and BDVA, the Big Data Value Association, all of these European associations. And this mentions just the scale and the significance of the ADRA-E. So in hindsight, this is the proposition target. You can read this because I know I'm out of time. We can, in hindsight, then the summary then is there are projects out there which are paid for by the European Commission, which will help you to engage in standardization. And what standardization gives you is globalization, through collaboration. It gives you best practice, accepted best practice through consensus, and it's a way of growing communities and growing internationally accepted solutions in any technology area. So that's it. EU ICT Emerging Technology Standards. That's what I wanted to talk about. I'll leave it there.